Today, we're diving into a case that starts as an apparent tragedy, but quickly unravels into a really chilling story of betrayal and one person's fight for the truth.
Chandrika Patel was just 18 years old. She had her entire future right there in front of her.
And she was so close to grabbing it. On June 14th, 2025, she absolutely nailed her medical entrance exam, scoring 478. I mean, this was a huge deal, a massive improvement that pretty much guaranteed her a spot in college. Her dream of becoming a doctor was about to come true. But then, just 11 days later, on June 25th, the unthinkable happens. Her family announces her sudden death from a heart attack. And in today's world, that story is sadly totally believable. But this was no natural tragedy. Not even close. This was the beginning of a dark, twisted secret that was about to be blown wide open by a single piece of paper. Okay, so let's get into it. The very first crack in this whole story appears 42 days later, of all places, in a high court. A young man named Harish Chaudhry, who was in a relationship with Chandrika, files this petition. He's demanding that she be brought before the court, right then and there. So what even is a habeas corpus petition? Well, think of it like this. It's a super important legal action that basically says you can't just lock someone up and throw away the key. It's a safeguard. And Harish was using it because he was convinced Chandrika was being held against her will. But when the hearing finally happens on June 27th, the court is just stunned. Chandrika's not there. Instead, the family's lawyer walks up and presents her death certificate, stating she died of a heart attack 2 days ago. Can you even imagine? So you have to be asking, why was Harish so suspicious? What made him think this wasn't just a tragic accident? Well, to understand that, we need to go back to how their story began. They met in February of 2025 and just fell in love. But their relationship was a direct clash with the super rigid beliefs of Chandrika's father, who was a former village leader and had very different plans for her. And this right here, this just lays out the conflict perfectly. On one side, you have Chandrika's vision, becoming a doctor, building a life with the person she loves. On the other side, her father's vision, an arranged marriage where her role was simply to uphold the family's honor. So when the couple eloped, her family filed a missing person report, and the system that should have protected Chandrika, an adult woman, mind you, it did the exact opposite. It actively worked against her. It's really unbelievable. You can see her father's influence here. The police find them, and instead of helping, they illegally take their phones. They forcibly separate two consenting adults. They even jail Harish on some bogus old charge. Then they threaten Chandrika, telling her to change her story and say she wants to be with her family, or else something bad would happen to Harish. Harish was absolutely convinced there was foul play. He filed a murder complaint. And the investigation that followed, wow, it uncovered a terrifying secret, with one single piece of evidence that blew the entire case wide open. These are Chandrika's own words, sent from her phone just days before she died. "If I don't agree to the marriage, my family will kill me." When the police showed these messages to her uncle and her cousin, they just broke down. They confessed everything. So here's the crucial part. That court notice for the hearing, that's what set everything off. Her father, her uncle, and her cousin saw it, and they decided right then and there. If she wouldn't bend to their will, she had to be killed. They drugged her, and in the middle of the night, her own father strangled her. Then they tried to stage the whole thing and rushed her cremation to destroy any evidence. The confession revealed the absolutely cold-blooded, calculated nature of this crime. It wasn't a crime of passion. It was an execution, orchestrated to protect their so-called family honor. So what happened? Her uncle and cousin were arrested. But her father, Senthabai, the man who actually took his own daughter's life, he escaped. He's still out there, a fugitive. And you realize this wasn't just the act of one man. It was a complete tragedy enabled by so many others. A family that chose to stay silent and cover it up, and a system that just chose to look the other way. One life, full of potential, with dreams of healing other people, was just extinguished. And this whole story leaves us with this one haunting question, one that societies all over the world are still grappling with. What is more valuable, a family's honor or a daughter's life?